Beyond Blind Faith, Evidence for the Existence of God, Part 2. The teleological argument. Big Bang. Or creation. Chaos or order. Who has not been amazed by the majesty, perfection, complexity and beauty of the universe? All this can't help but make one wonder what is behind this amazing celestial panorama. Can the chaos, the chance and the incident create this organisation and beauty? Would we not be more inclined to believe that at the base of this so rigorous existence there is a superintelligence capable of such a complex organisation which directs all things and watches over the fulfilment of the purposes for which they were created? The teleological argument is part of the category of rational arguments. The name of this argument comes from the Greek teleos, which means purpose, target, aim, and suggests the idea of organising and governing God. The starting point of this argument is the observation that the universe exists and functions as a perfect mechanism, as an amazing design which undeniably obeys certain laws. Everywhere in creation there are intelligent structures that interact and function in perfect harmony. But any design requires the existence of a previous plan, and above all, the contribution and signature of a designer. In this regard, isn't it a more obvious point of view that in the universe nothing happens by chance, by the incident? Astrophysicist Alan Lightman admitted that scientists find it curious that the universe was created in such an ordered state. He added that any other conclusive cosmological theory would have to eventually explain this entropy problem, meaning why didn't the universe become chaotic? So, 1. How was the universe made? How did stars, planets and galaxies form? These are some of the questions that millions and millions of people have asked themselves throughout history, and scientists are trying to find explanations for them. In general, contemporary scientists claim that the universe came into being in a huge explosion of energy and light, which they termed the Big Bang. This, they say, was the beginning of all that exists. It was the beginning of the universe, of space and even of time. This Big Bang theory tries to convince us that our universe started about 13 billion years ago, following a big explosion. All the matter in the universe at the time was concentrated in a single point. In the first moments of the Big Bang, all matter, energy and space, proponents of this theory say, were compressed into an area of zero volume and infinite density. Cosmologists call this a singularity. From that moment of the explosion, matter began to expand, and this expansion continues today. For this reason, the Big Bang theory includes the expanding universe theory. At the same time, it is argued that the matter stored in a single point not only began to expand, but also began to form more complex structures, namely atoms and molecules, and, over time, living organisms. This theory holds that our solar system, the Sun and the planets, formed 4.6 trillion years ago. Astrophysicist Robert Jastrow, who describes himself as an agnostic, stated, "In the first moment, the seed of everything that happened in the universe was planted. All the stars, all the planets, and all the living beings appeared as a result of the events set in motion at the moment of the cosmic explosion. Then the universe appeared, and we cannot find out what exactly caused it to appear." There are some other theories about the creation of the universe, which, although not important, still there are people who believe and consider them true. The Big Crunch theory. This theory believes that the expansion of the universe will slowly slow down until it begins to recede. In other words, one is talking about a contraction of the universe. This contraction would end in a great implosion known as the Big Crunch. Oscillating universe. This is about our universe oscillating in a constant Big Bang and Big Crunch. Steady state and continuous creation holds that the universe is expanding and its density remains constant because there is continuous matter in creation. Inflation theory. It is based on the same characteristics as the Big Bang, but says that there was an initial process. The process is called inflation, and it believes the expansion of the universe is faster. Almost everyone agrees that the universe has not always existed and that it had a beginning. What caused its appearance? But the discussions start from the question, what caused its appearance? Scientists have no explanation for this sudden explosion of light and matter. How to they can give no answer as to the origin of the cosmic point which then exploded. Why can't they give an answer? Because any attempt to give an answer inevitably leads to a first cause. Science has no answer for the first cause. Science opens the discussion only from the Big Bang, but it knows nothing about what was before that explosion, admitting and recognizing that it cannot give a plausible explanation. Physicist Robert Jastrow, a convinced atheist, openly admits this. There is a big problem. Science has proven that the universe exploded at some point, but the question arises, what caused the production of this effect? Who or what put matter and energy into the universe? Was the universe created out of nothing, or did certain materials exist before? And science cannot answer these questions. Where science has no answer, creationism has a viable answer that aligns with reality. The answer to everything is God. He is also the first cause of the formation of the universe. In the Word of God, the Bible, we find the basis of creationist thinking. John 1:3. All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made. But an atheist might say, and then who created God? In this situation, it is essential for a Christian to bypass religious pride and stay in biblical terms, that we see as in a mirror, dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I shall know just as I also am known. 1 Corinthians 13:1. There are situations where both camps, atheists or creationists, actually need to believe in something for this first cause, a cause that cannot be seen or proven by human means. However, even if this first cause cannot be demonstrated in either case, there is, however, an important difference. Atheists cannot prove what existed before the Big Bang, nor can they prove where that cosmic point came from. Even believers cannot prove that God is the first cause. However, by supporting an eternal God, believers can support the idea of a God witnessing the creation of the universe. If God is eternal, as the Bible told us, without father, without mother, without genealogy, having neither beginning or days nor end of life, but made like the Son of God, remains a priest continually. Hebrews 7:3. Then there is no logical contradiction and no difficulty in understanding where the universe came from, that is, from God. Moreover, an eternal being by definition has always existed. It exists independently of the creation of anything, including the universe, that it can have created. Thus there is no need for a first cause. Was life created out of nothing, or can we talk about the existence of an eternal being? Isn't creationism the most plausible theory to explain the origin of the universe, more plausible than any other proposed theory? Let's continue to present other information. 2. Planet Earth is built in such a way that it can create the conditions for life to exist, but also to maintain it. For a planet to support life, it needs many conditions. The Earth fulfills all the conditions and is still in the details. Do you think it is a coincidence that the Earth can meet many diverse and complex conditions to support life in all its complexity and beauty? We list only a few of these conditions. (2a) Perfect distance between Earth and Sun. Do you think it was a coincidence that the Earth is neither too close nor too far from the Sun? If the Earth were only a few kilometers closer to the Sun, it would be too hot. All the seas and oceans would boil and evaporate, and there would be no life in them or near them, and we would fry. If it were too far, we and the water would freeze. But the Earth-Sun distance is perfect. We can't help but wonder who put the Sun at the right distance from the Earth and who keeps it in the same coordinates for years. (2b) The speed of the Earth's rotation. In addition, the Earth revolves around the Sun at a speed of almost 100,000 kilometers an hour at the same time as it rotates around its own axis. In this way, the heating and cooling necessary to support and carry out a normal life are ensured daily. The Earth does these things while maintaining the same distance from the Sun and has been doing this for thousands and thousands of years without fail. And the Moon, our satellite, has a perfect size, gravitational field and distance from the Earth. It determines the flow and ebb of the ocean waters and other important movements of them, so that the ocean waters do not stagnate, nor do they flood the land. We do not consider the speed of the Earth's rotation to be something that should concern us. There is nothing we can do about that either. But here too a well thought out adjustment can be seen. Because if the Earth rotated very slowly, that part where there was no Sun would freeze very quickly. Or if the Sun stayed too long in one place, the Earth rotated very slowly, life would not be possible because the Earth would burn. (2c) Four fundamental forces in the universe: gravity, the electromagnetic force, the strong nuclear force, and the weak nuclear force. Evolutionists believe that before the Big Bang there was no time, no space, no nothing. And suddenly, in this empty and dark universe, in this chaos, an energy field of billions and billions of degrees appears. The Big Bang takes place, and in the first billionth of a second after this explosion, the four forces that govern the universe appeared instantly: the electromagnetic force, gravity, and the strong and weak nuclear force. Through them, it is considered that the universe could be regulated. In other words, right after the Big Bang, the temperature starts to drop, and these four fundamental laws appear. In the beginning, we are told, these forces were part and parcel of a unifying force. Only shortly after the Big Bang did they separate and specialize into what we know today. But even how these forces were once part of a unified whole and then separated is a mystery to scientists. Physicists and cosmologists are still searching for reasonable explanations to help understand this. The Big Bang unification theory to explain how the four forces were united and how they relate to each other. So there are still serious questions about these universal laws, how they appeared in a huge conglomeration of material, particles, where did they come from? It should be noted that matter is considered at the quantum level, not at the atomic level at that time. Max Planck, who gives the name to quantum physics and creates the notion of quantum, states in 1944 that the subatomic particles that form the universe of the atom, which in turn is the basis of the entire universe, the brick of the entire universe, the atom, these particles are maintained in a continuous and eternal motion of a great mind, the mind of matter. He defines what today can be called the intelligence or consciousness of matter. We talk about the existence of a solid body only from the perspective of classical Newtonian physics, but from the perspective of quantum physics, we are talking about condensations of energy fields. If we refer to the atom, which can be considered as the basic unit, we observe the following amazing things. It consists of an electron shell, some nucleons, protons and neutrons, and 99.99% empty space. If we break the core, we discover again 99.99% empty space. If the atom were the size of a football field, the atom nucleus would be the size of a button. The rest is empty space. In the quantum dimension, things are not spaced out, things are no longer in sequence, one after the other, but are simultaneous. Moreover, it is not past, present and future, but also the past and the present and the future are in the same place, which completely changes the idea of the existence of the universe and of matter in general. We discussed the matter by reducing everything to substance, but in ultimate reality there is no matter, only this energy and information. Isn't it more credible to accept that there was intelligence behind these processes as well? There are scientists who, it seems, indirectly confirm and directly doubt in their own way the existence of creative intelligence. Some say that there is a good chance that our universe is the creation of a super civilization. In other words, they are not saying that there is a God, but they are saying something similar. That is, the fact that things could not be random, that is, the universe without cause. Even in this case, those who consider the word God anachronistic and obsolete are forced to accept the existence of a superintelligence, be it extraterrestrial or a reason beyond us. When we talk about the four universal forces, it must be emphasized that these four forces have remained unchanged ever since ruling the universe uninterruptedly and without fail. How did these forces, since the great expansion of the universe, the Big Bang, know how to rule and administer the universe in the way they do? I mean, with such harmony, with such precision, and moreover, that this way of governing is compatible with and supports conscious life on Earth. We dwell only briefly on one of these four universal forces, gravity. Gravity. It is she who keeps our feet on the ground and makes the earth revolve around the sun. It is also known that it preserves the spherical shape of the earth and prevents the scattering of the atmosphere through space, and also attracts rain and influences the movement of ocean waves daily. This invisible force continues to remain a profound mystery today, being a stunning example of the limitations of current scientific knowledge. It, together with the other basic forces of nature, the electromagnetic force, the strong force and the weak force, which are related to atomic and molecular union, the stability of atomic nuclei, and the processes of radioactive disintegration, prove the complexity and genius of the conception of the universe and matter. It can be stated that if the Earth's gravitational field were too weak or too intense, the Earth would lose its atmosphere and life on it. Or maybe life would be possible, but it would take a different form. Or, in the alternative that gravity would cease for a moment, instant chaos would certainly result. All cosmic objects, including the Earth, the Moon and the stars, would no longer stand together. On the spot, all things would disintegrate into small fragments. At this point, we recall the significant biblical reference related to the nature of gravity and physical science in general. Thus, in Colossians 1:17, it is stated that Jesus, He is before all things, and all things hold together by Him. The Greek verb to hold means to bind, to keep, or to hold together. The word is used in the perfect tense in Greek, which refers to a present continuous state that originates in a past completed action. The second biblical reference, Hebrews 1:3, says that Jesus Christ holds all things by the word of his power. The verb to hold again describes the idea of sustaining, of keeping all things, including gravity. The word hold in this verse means much more than simply supporting a weight. He also has a sense of control over all active movements and changes in the universe. This infinite responsibility is managed by the almighty word of God, by which the universe itself was called into being in the beginning. Gravity, the mysterious force that is so little understood, is one of the manifestations of this wonderful divine support. (2d) The elements of the Earth's atmosphere. As far as it is known so far, science states that the Earth is the only planet whose atmosphere is made up of a mixture of gases, perfectly balanced to support plant, animal and human life. Could it be a coincidence? If the elements that make up our world had different proportions than they have now, different proportions by only a few percent, then every living thing on Earth would die. There is also 21% oxygen in the atmosphere, just the amount needed for life. If there was more oxygen, we would have fires everywhere and bigger insects than the ones we know today. This is because the size of an insect is proportional to the amount of oxygen in the atmosphere. If the amount of oxygen were less, the immediate consequences would be related to depression, anxiety, insomnia, and even death. In this case, we can even talk about the disappearance of the human species from the Earth. At the Earth's surface, there is a thin layer of gases, mostly nitrogen and oxygen, which only rises about 80 km above the planet's surface. If the Earth had been smaller, it would have been impossible for it to have an atmosphere, as in the case with the planet Mercury. If it was larger, its atmosphere would contain free hydrogen, as it does on Jupiter. We mention here another significant detail that illustrates the complexity of the world we live in that claims a creator. The probability of a single protein molecule appearing is 1 in 10243, i.e. 10 followed by 243 zeros. On the other hand, a single cell is made up of millions of protein molecules. Who can manage this complexity? Does chance have this capacity? Wouldn't we be closer to the truth if we paid attention to the biblical verse in Isaiah 45:18? For thus speaks the Lord, the maker of the heavens, the only God who prepared the earth, made it and strengthened it. He did not make it to be desolate, but he prepared it to be inhabited. I am the Lord, and there is no other. Materialists say that order and harmony are not due to the presence of God, but to chance or happenstance. But chance cannot create order, because it is the opposite of order. It should also be mentioned that there is a theory called the flat earth theory, which states that the earth would be shaped like a plane or disc, a vast firmament covered by a dome. The idea of a spherical earth appeared in Greece with the contribution of Pythagoras, 6th century BC. Most consider this theory to be a myth, but special attention should be paid to it, if only due to the fact that this theory brings new arguments based on the data provided by science. (3) The universe works according to some immutable laws of nature. Our life seems largely insecure, uncertain, and dependent on everything that surrounds us. However, there are so many elements that sit in the human background that silently support our life, but also on a universal level. So our planet still rotates in 24 hours, and today, as always, the speed of light remains the same. It does not change, neither here nor in distant galaxies. Gravity is and remains what it was, etc. How is it that we have a universe so systematic, so stable and enduring, with laws that never change? I'm wondering why. Many scientists are amazed at this state of affairs, because there is no logical necessity for the universe to obey laws, let alone a law that obeys mathematical rules. Richard Feynman, the laureate of the Nobel Prize for Quantum Electrodynamics, said, "We don't know why nature has a mathematical character. The very fact that there are laws of nature is a kind of miracle." The very word law requires the existence of a lawgiver, that is, someone who made that law. Scientists have identified many laws of nature that govern our lives. If one of them were to change, it would lead to an earthly disaster. The Earth-Sun distance has been sacredly preserved for thousands and thousands of years. The speed of the Earth's rotation, gravity, etc. all work in a relationship subordinate to a clear purpose and benefit, that of life on Earth, of the beings that are on it. Can one imagine what chaos it would be? What kind of life could be spoken of it? Let us think if these and all the rest ceased or functioned chaotically, what chance of life would there be? Given the laws of nature and the laws of physics work without interruption, without malfunctions, in perfect order and harmony, it means that there is someone behind them, an infinite and perfect intelligence. Believers call this mind God.